What's going on, y'all? This is Dana Polk Jr., Master Executive 8. And we're continuing the series in Egyptian yoga. And we're just pretty much discussing the philosophy behind it. Like I said, if you want an actual practice, I would suggest going to find the actual yoga instructor. But I'm doing this just because I want to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like to study and then share the things that I study. So, yeah. And hey, if spirit guides me to do something else, like tells me that, hey, yo, stop doing this, do something, then that just be what it be. But so far, man, I've been enjoying myself, so I'm gonna keep doing that. But so this is part two to Egyptian. Oh, also, I may be so like I may be actually getting a home study course on Egyptian yoga, like to actually do it at home. Um, or I may actually go find, just to kind of get out my comfort zone a little bit. I may actually go find me a Egyptian yoga studio where I can go and actually do it with others. So I may do that too. I don't know. It depends on how I'm feeling. But what I wanted to touch on real quick is just some of the stuff we talked about from the first part. There were some images I wanted to show y'all, but I didn't have them. And like I said, I'm gonna find another way to get them up. So like screen share so y'all can see. But for now, I actually got a little creative. I drew them out. So one of the uh, symbols or the hieroglyphs we talked about from the first, Nefer is the union of the heart and the trachea, or the most beautiful thing, or the highest good, uh, or the greatest achievement. And it looks like this. So if you look it up, if you look up Nefer, that's what it looks like. As you can see, it's the heart right there and the trachea. You know what I mean? And then got the Ankh. Everybody's heard about the Ankh by now. You guys know the Ankh, the temporal, masculine. Excuse my drawing. Like, as you can see, my the masculine is a little bit heavy down here. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. Y'all know what I'm trying to do. I mean, you got your Ankh. You got the male temporal right here, the cross, and you got the female eternal up top, creating a whole, a balanced, actual balanced cross. But actually, I wonder if this is a balanced cross, or would the actual balanced cross just be straight up and over? Anyway, so yeah, that's the union of the male temporal and the female eternal, and that basically what leads to the transformation into the androgynous being. And then you have the one that we're going to go into, and I didn't write the name of this one, but this is Hetep, spelled Hetep, and it's uh basically, like, as you can see, this is kind of like a resting place, and this is the union that's I can't necessarily say been completed, because I kind of feel like balance is like a never ending journey. Like, you don't, you never just see a teeter totter just completely balanced the whole time. Like, I don't think that that's actually possible. I think it's a continuous thing. But as you can see here, there is some point to where you actually um how did I just the resting place for the satisfaction of the soul, or the union with the higher self, where the union actually does happen. You know what I mean? You can see it below, above, you can see right there the connection in the resting plane. So plus all right, so we'll just continue with the study. So we stopped at Hetep. Hetep, spelled Hetep, symbolizes peace, supreme, the final resting place for the satisfaction of the soul, and yoga, or the yoking between the lower and the higher self. Egyptian yoga, combined with the philosophies and the myths, make a complete system to reunite the individual with the higher self. Amun Ra Ptah. Forgive me if I pronounce that wrong. I need to get the pronunciation of that last part. But Amun Ra Ptah represents the primordial trinity, of the Egyptian religion, and it combines the three major theological branches. The temporal trinity comes from the transcendental or the nameless or the hidden divinity. So the hidden or the transcendental can only be described as much as what we have here allows. You know what I'm saying? So in an attempt to describe the nameless, these names were used. The nameless one, uh, Neber, Neberger, Shatai, Tem, Neter or Neteru, Neteru, Amun, Asar or Osiris, Ra, Haru or Horus, Keper, and Aset or Isis. These names, in the sense, could be used interchangeably. They all represent the absolute supreme being and the reality that is transcendental or non temporal, similar to how land would rise out of the water. The seen world rises out of the unseen world. It would be, those names would be similar to um, if you were to pull the immaterial into the material. Those would be the representations of them. So Christianity, oh, I'm sorry. So Haru or Horus is the incarnation of the father Asar or Osiris in the religion of Asar or Osiris. And you can, man, like as I'm going through this, you'll see the similarities pretty much through all religions. I mean, the similarities are pretty much all talking about the same thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm just drawn to this one because this is the yoga system that I'm going to be using. So I'm using this to pretty much describe the process, and I think I'll move pretty much through each system, each philosophy. But so anyway, so Haru or Horus is the incarnation of his father Asar or Osiris in the religion of Asar or Osiris. So besides his parents Aset or Isis and Asar or Osiris, he is one of the central characters. Talking about Horus. So out of greed and what's known as Setian or demonic tendencies, Asar's brother or Osiris's brother kills him so that he could have rule over Egypt. So eventually, Asar's brother, is challenged by Haru or Horus, who had the help of his mother Aset or Isis, Het Haru, also known as Hathor, and Jehuti, who is the god of wisdom. So with all their help, Horus wins the rulership, wins the struggle, wins the battle against Set for rulership over Egypt. So this struggle, as well as all the parties involved, is the same struggle that every man and every woman goes through when they're becoming yoked with their higher self and subduing the lower nature. So all of these gods are representative of aspects of us, and the struggle is the struggle that we all go through to subdue our lower nature to rise to our higher natures. So Christianity has a similar concept in its description of the kingdom of heaven. The lower and the higher self in us all is also represented by Upper and Lower Egypt. So anytime you see Upper or hear Upper and Lower Egypt, it's talking about your nature. The same representation of the struggle for power of Set and Haru or Horus in Upper and Lower Egypt. They're all the same thing. Different aspects of the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So now, to be honest with this next statement, as well as a few other statements I'll make, I disagree with it, but I'm trying to don't want to create any confusion, and I don't want to start going off into other places. We'll address all of that later. But for now, I'm going to make a few statements which I don't completely believe to be true, but we're just going to use them for the sake of this teaching. So Medu Neter and hieroglyphs would be the first known writings and language. But there were actually, the cuneiform text were actually the first text writings known to man, as far as like historically recorded based on Earth history. But so for the sake of this teaching, like I said, we're going to say that the Egyptian writings were the first known in history. And then the two religions of Asar and Osiris and Heru or Horus are the basis for the writings on the hieroglyphs. So once again, for the sake of this teaching, the Egyptian civilization is the most ancient known civilization on Earth. We're just going to use that for this. So the proof, so-called proof for this, can be found in the monumental structure of the Sphinx that has been proven to be over 12,000 years of age. Medu Neter is the name of the language used to create these writings. Medu Neter is referred to as divine speech or the writing of God. These writings were found written in lots of places, and most of the writings concern higher knowledge and spiritual emancipation, the awakening and the resurrection from the normal human consciousness and mortality to the immortality or cosmic consciousness. So, like I said, Medu Neter could be found written on papyruses, coffins, and temples in specific. So that's pretty much the end of part 1 and part 2 of Egyptian yoga and what it is. And we're going to continue in the next part. I'll let you guys know what that part will be, but we'll continue it later. In the meantime, like I said, we're just moving through this philosophy about Egyptian yoga, just to kind of learn about the philosophy behind it. You know what I'm saying? Because the interesting thing is the actual story. Everything about the one thing I like about, I mean, all of the religions have this, but the one thing I liked specifically about the Egyptian religion was it was like kind of plainly put. I mean, like with a lot of the other religions, you kind of have to piece everything together. But with this one, the way it's presented was already pieced together. Like, for instance, you have something called the you know what? I gotta find out what it's called in Smai-Tawi. Smai-Tawi is basically like Egyptian yoga. That's what the name would be. So they have something called in other yogas the sun salutation, right? So the sun salutation is actually, the reason it's called a sun salutation is because it's the journey of the sun, or Ra. It's the actual journey of Ra. You know what I'm saying? So you can see this when you see the journey of Ra and you read about it, it's actually talking about an actual journey that you can actually practically apply to your physical body, to your mental body, to your spiritual body. Like you can actually apply this to all the aspects of yourself. And it's not just seen as this guy going on a journey. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, this is basically just describing the philosophical view on what's going on as far as the entire practice is concerned. Okay, including a little bit of history, a little bit of everything. So this is Dana Poole Jr., Master Executive 8. Just tune into the next video. Tune into this channel for the next video. And I'll see you guys later. If you have any comments, drop them below. If you like the video, press the like button. If you want to subscribe to my channel, press subscribe. And I'll see y'all later.